Hi guys, so this is the last of my NSI Secrets tutorials for this week. I'm starting off this one with fairy tales again, and I'm just popping it on the tip of the nail and blending back up towards the cuticle, because we're going to do a bit of a fade. Then I'm going to go into Daydream, which is the lilac shimmer one, and again pull that down over the fairy tales pink and then back up towards the cuticle. Then I'm coming in with my NSI rose blush at the cuticle area. If you need to put any more little bits of Daydream on, you can do, just so that you're happy with your blend. But as long as you're working nice and wet and fast, you should be okay. So just blending down with my rose blush now. Just making sure I've got a nice blend, keeping it nice and thin, just working it as a design. Just going over again with my Daydream, just over the top of my rose blush so that I've got a shimmer there. So once you're happy, then you can cap this whole nail with your NSI Crystal Clear. Same as usual guys, I'm obviously working on a display tip, so no need for me to create an apex. But if you're doing this on a client, then yes, you would need to create an apex with your Crystal Clear. So I'm just placing my product on, pressing it into place and smoothing it down. Don't be scared to back brush if you need to move the product further back. So just making sure that whole nail's nice and smooth now before we let it dry. So I'm going to file with my 150 grit file, and once I'm happy that we've got a nice smooth nail, I can go in with my white block, smooth it down, using my NSI Lush brush to remove the dust, and then apply my Glaze and Go. We're going to do a bit of a 3D art on top of this nail, a bit of a mermaid garden with some shells and flowers and beads. So that's gone into my lamp for 120 seconds, and that's the base design done. So now I'm going to start my 3D work. So using my precision brush, because I want to pick up a decent sized bead, I've picked up NSI Pure White, dipped into Daydream, but also dipped into Cool Breeze, which is that bluey grey shimmer as well, to get my shell shape in. Now moving on to my mini 3D brush so that I can work a bit sharper. I'm cutting into that bead to start to create a shell shape. So just using the point of my brush to cut in and make those rivets in that bead that I've applied. I'm going to make this shell a little bit more 3D just by adding a few more beads into those sections that we've cut up, and it also adds a little bit more colour as well, but it makes that shell look a little bit more 3D as well. So just picking up with my mini 3D brush and spreading out so that we get a bit more of a 3D effect to that shell. So now I'm just going to create some little flowers, like bottom of the ocean flowers, bit of a coral effect, using my Pure White and my Daydream this time, which is the lilac again. So I'm placing my 3 beads down. I only want these to be really quite small flowers, little dainty ones. So quite small beads, and really just using a small amount of pressure just with the tip of the brush just to press it out, because I don't want them to be too big. I want them to be nice and cute and little. Second layer. So again, I'm placing my 3 beads down, because I know I've got enough time to place my 3 beads down and then come back and work my first. If you're a little bit slower with your 3D, then maybe just do 1 or 2 beads at a time. It does depend on the temperature of your salon you're working in as well. If you're working in a warm salon, you might not get that 3rd bead. It might have set already by the time you've got to it, so if you're in a cool salon you'll have plenty of time, but if you're in a warm salon you won't have as much time, so just do a few beads at a time then. I'm going to do another flower at the bottom. Exactly the same, but this time I'm using my Pure White and my Cool Breeze so that I get a slightly blue tint to the petals. Again, still nice and small, little dainty flowers. Not pressing too much. Second layer, exactly the same again. Don't forget on your second layer of your 3D just to raise your angle of your brush slightly when you press in, so that it doesn't just press into the first petal. You can see a difference between the first petal and the second layer. So just lift that angle up a little bit. And the second layer I'm just using Pure White. I've not put any colour into that second layer again, so it'll stand out a little bit more from that first layer. And then my centre bead, creating that donut in the middle. So I want to just connect this design now, because at the minute we've just got the shell and 2 flowers. So I'm going to connect this design just by placing some beads of those colours, so Daydream, Cool Breeze and Pure White. And a couple of them I'm going to turn into little air bubbles, so creating those little donuts with the point of your brush. Again, it's about knowing your timing of when you can go back into that product when it's ready. Just wait for it to go matte and then you can go in and start to mould the shape. So creating these donuts makes it look a bit like the little air coming from the bottom of the ocean. Using the Pure White as well. So that's going to make this design pop a little bit using the white. So just point of the brush into those beads, draw a little circle to create that donut shape. So you can see that that design flows nicely now. Just putting a little bit of glaze and go just over the top of the main shell, but the rest I'm leaving matte. So once that's cured in your lamp for 120 seconds, that's that nail done. I hope you like my little mermaid garden, guys.